After watching Chris Gore's video this last week, I have come to a realization.
What's that?
Rey's parents are Kira and Han frickin' Solo. Hello, cult members. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is The Big Shoe.
Really big shoe.
Big Shoe. We watched this video last week from Chris Gore from Film Threat, and we've talked about him a bunch because he was here for Phoenix Comic Con a couple years ago and had a really cool panel with John Schnapp and really bad videos, and there was
they were bad.
They were projectile throwing and stuff and whatever, but he had this video that makes complete and utter sense. That Rey's parents are Kira and Han, and that's why Kylo was so upset and is kind of the emo kid because
he cheated on
Leia and had this kid with his former love interest, and that's how he got Rey. And Rey's strong with the Force, and Kira's kind of the dark side, and Rey's the light side, and Leia's the light side, and
Kylo's the
dark side, and just like, it's so good. You should go just put in Film Threat or Chris Gore, Rey's parents. It comes up. He talks about some other stuff that's coming up in his speculating responsibly, as the Force Center guys would say. We're gonna do some speculating later. But yeah, it was just a really good video, and so we had to go back and rewatch Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and
makes some things a little different. Makes you feel a little differently about it.
Looking on with fresh eyes. It's a good way of putting it.
Just don't get all excited that this is what's going to happen, and then have your hopes and dreams dashed.
Right. It's okay to speculate, but do it responsibly and do it with the understanding that 95% of what you think is going to happen is not real.
No. Nope.
So we are going to get into the big shoe. First, we want to ask that you do something for us. We put this show out every week. We do trailer reactions and movie reviews and all kinds of different things. We'll do some movie reviews and book reviews. Look at us expanding our horizons.
Oh my God.
There's Star Wars books. That's not really expanding our horizons. But we ask from you is that you do two things. One, subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask. Subscribe to the channel. Maybe hit the bell so you get notifications. That way you're up to date on all the stuff that we're uploading. Uploading. Apparently I'm a southern rapper all of a sudden. And then the other thing that we ask from you is that you share this channel with your friends. Let your friends know that what we're doing. Now, we'll be incredibly honest after reading some comments from trailer reactions and stuff. We don't know everything.
Well,
what?
I do.
Okay, I know nothing. She knows everything. Together, we don't know all of it, but we kind of figure it out. No, we don't know everything, and that's part of the reason why we started this channel is to learn about movies and TV shows and comic books, and I'll show you I have a stack of comics that I didn't get all these last week, but there's Thrawn and Moon Knight and Saga, and I've got a whole big stack over there. I've been trying to get caught up on stuff, so I'm learning. She's learning. And we're doing our best to do all that stuff. So we ask you to come along on this journey with us.
Not to mention the fact that we actually have day jobs. We don't get paid to do this, so we don't have time to watch everything.
We're trying to get paid to do this, but yeah, we don't get to do that. So we would ask that you just subscribe, share with your friends, and then be very nice in the comments. Constructive criticism is okay.
Right.
You can poke a little fun at us too, because we poke fun at ourselves.
Right.
Obviously.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with Ruby Rose got hired on as Batwoman for the CW. Now, they announced that Batwoman was going to be the character in the crossover coming up.
Yep.
There's discussions of having her be a main character in her own series. I would really like her to see kind of like a 13, 16 episode series.
Well,
I don't know where they're going to put it on the CW, like Sunday nights or whatever.
Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff going on.
But Ruby Rose was cast as Catwoman. You know Ruby Rose.
Batwoman.
Batwoman. I said Catwoman again. Goddamn. Batwoman. Batwoman. Batwoman.
Bat.
Woman.
Whoa, man.
Whoa, man. Ruby Rose she's been in Orange is the New Black. She's in the new Meg. She was kind of the badass assassin in John Wick. Two. And she is openly lesbian and openly kind of just who she is. She's tattooed and kind of rough and like, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But she got hired to do pretty much her dream role. She's a she's a nerd and like the rest of us. And so I'm super happy for her.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The internet needs to.
The internet then had a hissy fit because they hired her, and
whatever.
I'm going to continue to say this: the internet needs to calm their fucking shit.
Earmuffs.
We talked about this last week. We curse on this show.
Our grandchildren are watching now. You made them watch.
Oh, like now is the line. Now is the line.
Yes, because our Hi.
Hi.
Me, Mom, Poppy are here.
Krampus got a dirty mouth. The cool thing about Batwoman is the modern version of her character is of Jewish descent and is a lesbian in the comic book.
Okay.
And I think that's they kind of touched on that with Katie Lutz's character, White Canary.
Yeah.
Sarah Lance.
I was gonna say Laura.
Laura's the other one.
Yeah.
They kind of dealt with the open sexuality with her, but this is a blatantly like lesbian relationship. They've been dealing with it on Supergirl too. They have a openly lesbian character on there, and then you've got the new Snark,
right,
and Ray, and from Earth X,
right,
who are openly gay. And so
right.
I really like the Arrowverse willing to expand its horizons and do all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it shouldn't matter, but it does. So good for them.
Right. It shouldn't matter, but it's awesome that they're doing it. And so,
I think I don't know that I want to see her in a standalone series. Not anything against Ruby Rose or anything. I just think she would be better as a reoccurring character on everything. On Arrow,
as
on Flash, on
whatever.
Legends, on Supergirl. Just
that'd be cool. That would be kind. She's I'm trying to figure out like where like what this kind of like what they're trying to do, because adding Batwoman brings Gotham in. If you bring Gotham in, then you have the whole Batverse. So you have Batman, Robin, Dick Grayson. Although Dick Tracy would be really cool. Just throw him in there too. We need another detective on this.
They can make a Earth, 95 that's all like Dick Tracy characters.
Get on that, Berlanti. We're giving you free ideas. But I think I agree with you. I don't know how I feel. I want to see how she is in the crossover. If she's the main thing that's going on in the crossover, it would be. But I just don't know if I care enough about this character to see a standalone series, or B, even if it's halfway cool, if I want to carve out time, if everything else that we're watching, to throw it in.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what new story it's gonna bring, right? And I mean, I get it that Batwoman and Gotham and all that is a new story, but that's what we like about Legends, is it's not quite so formulaic to Flash and Arrow. Flash is trying to be Arrow, but they don't do a very good job of it most of the time. And honestly, these shows are there's a bad guy, we beat the bad guy,
right.
There's some sort of underlying episode to episode conflict or whatever that's going on. Yeah, a story arc. And I just don't know what new thing other than that same formula that's going to bring.
Yeah, we'll see, and that's all I can really say. Is I'm
but
excited
I would
about
love
it.
to see her as a reoccurring character.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, so the title of this episode is what is the Oscars thinking? So last week, the Oscars announced some changes coming. The easy ones are they're moving the date to earlier in February. This year it's coming out on the 24th of February. Starting in 2020, it's going to be February 9th. So
Right.
that early Sunday in February.
Right, the weekend after the Super Bowl.
Right. And so, and then the nominations for this year are coming out January 22nd, which means next year they'll come out right after the first of the year.
Yeah.
And so I like it moving up a little bit. Now, some people were complaining that means the voters aren't going to have enough time. Come on,
You had an
guys.
entire year.
Right. Just because, Hollywood puts the last, 20 Oscar movie candidates out in the last 3 weeks of the year to kind of get it in under the wire. I always had a problem. I always had a problem with that. Just put everything out, and
Yeah.
whatever happens to get out. And there's that whole criteria too that has to be out in a certain amount of markets
theaters,
and
yeah.
theaters, and they
Yeah.
do New York and LA, and they're the only ones who get to see it. And then like anything that happens on Netflix doesn't get counted because it doesn't go into theaters.
Right.
And then
Unless they put it in a theater.
which is what Amazon's been doing. They've been
Yeah.
doing the LA New York thing.
Yep.
And so, okay, cool. I get that. They also announced that they're going to try to do a 3-hour run time. Now they're saying they're going to do a 3-hour run time, and what they're going to do is they're going to do a continuous show and
Right.
do commercials in the corner when the lighting and sound guys get their Oscar.
Right.
And costume design or whatever.
Or the other way around, the commercials on and the Oscars are in the corner, whatever.
Right.
One way or the other. It's NASCAR.
It's NASCAR. It's totally NASCAR. I like NASCAR's way of doing it, but with the award ceremony, one of the things that was it Jeff Snyder was saying, playing the songs from the Oscar nominated songs.
Yeah.
I get the song and dance routine for Hollywood, but if you're trying to make this shorter and you're trying to make it more appealing to younger crowd, which is what they're trying to do, then doing that just doesn't make any sense.
Well, and the performance are horrible.
Yeah.
They're always, and I mean, not to say that the people doing the performances aren't, professionals or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if it's the acoustics. I don't know if it's the nerves, but I mean, almost every year we're like, well, that was the only one that was actually watchable.
Let's be honest. The most memorable performance we've had in the last few years, I would say last 10 years, is Robin Williams coming out and doing Blame Canada.
Right.
That was the most memorable one that comes to my mind every time until this year when we had the cast from Greatest Showman do This Is Me.
Yeah.
And the song is awesome and powerful, but it sounded like ass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not the song was bad. I'm just the performance.
Yeah.
It just
again,
didn't-
like
yeah.
I said, I don't know if it's the acoustics or nerves or
Yeah.
what, but it doesn't work. Play, 30 seconds of the actual soundtrack or
Well, you're
20
throwing
seconds.
15 or 20 seconds of everybody's performance. So just do that, and then so they do each of the songs, and then they do the song, and then they go back and give you 20 seconds of the song again. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Okay,
Yeah.
we're going off on a tangent. And we're gonna fix the Oscars in 15 minutes. It won't be we're gonna as we talk about this, we're gonna fix the Oscars.
Right.
I'm just telling you how it's gonna.
Right.
The big thing that came out is they've added a new category. Now, a couple of years ago, after The Dark Knight did not get nominated for Best Picture because there was only 5 Best Picture nominees that year.
Right.
The very next year, they upped it to 10. Since then, they've never had 10.
No.
They've had 9 most years. I think 2 years ago they had, was it 7 or 8?
Yeah.
But they've never had 10 because there's this formula. Collider does a great explanation of how the math works in this thing, and there's a certain threshold, and you know this column. It's really well explained. I cannot explain it. I will just tell you that it's messed up. That they add this new category for achievement in popular film. Not Best Picture.
Right.
But achievement in popular film.
Right.
With no criteria behind what the definition is of popular film.
Right. So you've just opened a giant can of worms.
So a lot of the talk has been, this is their way of getting Black Panther an Oscar nomination. Now, we are August 13th. If you were to ask me, of all the movies we have seen, now there's some movies we haven't seen yet. Meg is not on that list of ones will be on this list. Of the movies we've seen, I would put Black Panther as Best Picture. Not as the winner, but I would put it in that category, in that 10.
Right.
Sorry. And I don't think that there's going to be anything. I don't think there's going to be 10 movies that come out and knock it out. Not, at least not right now. Now there's that one that's coming out with Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley.
That looks really good.
Kingston.
Kingsley.
Kingsley, thank you. 5, 4, 3. About hunting Nazis in Argentina and stuff like that. That is that's a Oscar wheelhouse movie
absolutely.
right there. But the idea of putting this new category in just doesn't make... I know you're trying to appease a younger audience. They were saying that the 2017 ceremony was down 19% from the previous year and 39% from its peak in 2014. So they made a big push this year of bringing in, what they say, 900 plus new Oscar voters.
Yes.
Most of them are younger voters. Most of them are minorities and women. And making a point of putting in a younger demographic to bring in younger movies is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, in movies that people may have actually seen.
Right.
You know, I mean, nobody wants to tune in to watch a movie that played it in LA and New York to get its, its qualifications.
Right.
And then at Cannes. Right? So
right, at TIFF or at Cannes or
or
something
Cannes,
like that.
however you say it. None of us have seen that.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to tune in to watch that become Best Picture or run away with the Oscars. You know, you want to watch because you want to see movies that you enjoyed get acknowledged, like this last year with Shape of Water. It was Shape of Water and Get Out and Dunkirk. There was a lot of movies. Now we had Movie Pass, and that afforded us the opportunity to see more of the Oscar movies, but they were generally movies that a moviegoer in Spokane could go see.
Right. Or would want to see.
Right.
Most American going, I'm going to use America as the example but the Oscars are worldwide, right? But most American moviegoers don't really want to spend $18 a ticket to go see 3 Billboards or go see Call Me by Your Name.
Right.
They'll wait till it comes out on HBO or Netflix or whatever, and they'll see it.
Right.
But but they're not going to spend that extra money to go see something in an Adobe Theater or whatever. They're going to spend their money for Dunkirk, or they're going to go see Get Out, or they're going to see Infinity War, or they're going to see The Meg. You know, that Meg made $44 million this weekend, and everybody and most people were like, "Yeah, it was okay." And so, like, people are willing to spend their money on that kind of stuff, which is totally fine. Not everybody has the opportunity like we do with the Movie Pass, or a lot of the punditry that's on the internet who get to go see stuff early and stuff, or
for free
or whatever. And so I really don't mind the popular film achievement of popular film. No, I don't like it, but I don't mind it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're gonna need to explain it, because what's popular? Are we talking about box office? Are we talking about domestic box office? Are we talking about worldwide box office? Are we talking about butts and seats? Or what does that mean? And
because if we're going to talk about butts and seats, then Greatest Showman would have won that Oscar last year because it was in the theater for 18 weeks or whatever it was, right?
Right, yeah.
And Black Panther is still in the theater. You know, it just passed $700 million. It's still in the theater. It's on our freaking shelf on DVD. So.
And how do you come up with 10? So just going through the movies from this year, how would you even come up with, 5?
Right.
You know, what's your threshold? $1 billion?
Right.
Then, so you got Black Panther, Infinity War.
Incredibles 2 was close. I think it's 8 or 900,000. 8 or 900 million. 800,000. That's what.
$8 or $9.
$8 or $9 was.
Yeah.
But so.
And what if it comes out in September, which generally doesn't happen.
Aquaman. It comes out
Aquaman. Yeah.
It comes out 2 weeks before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Does that not count as a popular film? And
that's not going to make $1 billion. Not in.
And I want to
2
talk
weeks.
about. What I want to talk about really is the Academy in the past has been like that we've talked about, very kind of old and curmudgery. And that was why they made a point of bringing in these newer
so let them have a chance.
So let them have a chance. Now, if we get 2 or 3 years on the line and they see that there's a need for this achievement in popular film in there, then in 3 or 4 years that makes sense. Let this younger crowd get in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Logan should have been nominated last year.
Right.
It was a top 10 movie last year.
Right. It was not a comic book movie.
No,
it was not a comic book movie.
It was not a comic book movie. The Oscars are an achievement in art of film.
Yeah.
That includes all films. All films. If we can have a Best Picture winner of a lady who falls in love with a fish, and we can't get the most heart-wrenching movie about age, about mental disease, about growing old, about finding your lost family. Oh, by the way, he can't die and he has really cool claw hands. So it's okay over here, but it's not okay over here.
Right.
And so I wanted the Academy. I've wanted the Academy to include all movies, and for longest time, movies like Star Wars, outside of the technical and the musical stuff, has never been really a thing.
Yeah.
Other than the first one, A New Hope.
Same thing with the comic book.
Comic book movies.
Technical.
Yeah.
You know, but special effects, whatever, they'll get in there. But
you can't. But the Academy in the past has never been able to go, you can't have a good performance if you're in some big blockbuster movie.
Yeah. But then didn't, I don't think The Hobbit did, but didn't Lord of the Rings win some? So
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King had 14 nominations and 11 victories. But that was more, again, it's the Academy, and the Academy can be a little weird. But that was kind of the achievement of the series. Like the Fellowship of the Ring and Helm's Deep. Two Towers. It's only really about Helm's Deep in that movie, let's be honest. those two movies were nominated for some stuff, mostly technical stuff, but not like performances and Best Picture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was at the end after everybody sat down and they said, "Oh my God, he did this over 2.5 years."
Yeah.
And that was the they did a makeup. Denzel Washington won for Training Day.
Right. What?
Okay, cool, whatever. He should have won for. Didn't he wasn't he nominated for Glory and didn't win? Wasn't that what it was?
I don't remember.
And then wasn't it like was it Paul Newman who won for like Cocktail or something like that the year after he should have won the year before? It was so the Academy,
and they say they don't make up, but they totally
the
do.
Academy makes up. In like one year they complained about how there wasn't enough black representation, and then next year everybody like won. We kind of joke this is racist, but we kind of joked it was the black Oscars.
Yeah, well, we're not the only ones. A bunch of people
but it was
that.
just like so for us to fix the Oscars. There's a handful of things that I would throw in there. I would bring in a younger host. Not some late night talk show host, not something like that. Bring in a younger host, Justin Timberlake, somebody who can handle it and, do all that stuff.
That makes them nervous, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure that makes them nervous. I would get rid of all the songs, show the song from the movie when it's actually used in the movie.
Yeah, but like I said, for like 20 seconds or whatever, so that people that don't know the song can at least get a feel for it, understand.
By the time we get to the Oscars, it's the last of the big awards things.
Yeah.
Everyone pretty much, if you're really watching the Oscars, if you don't know the movie itself, you have heard about the movie and the actors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I would do like the performances. I would do the little snippets of performances of supporting actor and actress, leading actor and actress. But the Best Picture, I get rid of all that, whatever 20 or 30 seconds they show from each movie or like a little clip thing or whatever. I've trimmed off like 20 minutes all of a sudden.
Do they still do that? I don't remember if they did that last year.
They did it for. I know they did it for like for song sound design, sound editing. They showed all the like. I want people to be. What I want is the people who win to have the chance to go up and spend more than 30 seconds, especially if it's a team of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of these people will never get the chance to be up there again.
Yep.
Give them a chance to say, give them 2.5 minutes. Okay? Yeah, they're going to ramble on, but I'd rather have them have 2.5 minutes than some asshole,
or not even an asshole. Meryl Streep. How many times has she been up there?
Right.
Give some of your time to some of these other people.
As of right now, I don't think Meryl Streep's in a movie this year. I'm just saying, if she's nominated for a bit part in Mamma Mia, I'm going to throw something I'm going to drive by the Academy. I'm going to do a drive-by fruiting. I'm going to throw fruit at their front door. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Meryl Streep rolled out of bed. It's like, it was nominated last year. He played Lincoln.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis rolled out of bed. He's nominated. So I like some of the stuff that they're trying to do. Shorten this. Shorten time.
I don't care if they shorten it. Make it 4 hours. I don't care.
As long as it's good. I don't. That's my argument about the people who are complaining that the episode 9 could be the longest Star Wars movie. If it's good, it can be 5 hours. I want to see that. Now, if it's shit in 5 hours, then oh my God, I'm gonna have my soapbox out here and just.
Yeah, but if it's like you're 2.5 hours in, going, oh, my butt's a little sore, but you don't realize it's 2.5 hours in, then that's fine.
Yeah. So I just the popular film, and then the other thing that kind of came out is Disney and ABC executives were in the Academy president and the board of directors' ear to put this new thing in there. I know this happens, and I'm not I'm not upset. I'm not upset that this kind of thing happens. What I'm upset about is that it kind of looks like they're like it.
Disney wants their movies nominated.
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks so bad.
Yes, it does.
It's called the Disney, the achievement by Disney in film.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah.
But is it worth it? Is this going to be, the thing with the Oscars is it has clout, right? Oscar nominated, Oscar
right
winner, whatever, is a thing that goes on your byline now forever, and not Golden Globes sometimes.
The Golden Globes are a joke.
But sometimes they will put Golden Globe winner or whatever, but that's not the same as Oscar. So now you've kind of made this. It's almost like a throwaway category. That are you going to shoot yourself in the foot?
Right.
In 5 years, when everybody's like, that was dumb, and people are going to be like, Oscar nominated for a category that no longer exists. Yay.
Suicide Squad was Oscar nominated, and every time somebody brings it up, Oscar nominated Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and we all go, what
the I find it funny that Incredibles 2 will get 3 Best Picture nominations this year.
Okay.
They will get Best Animated, Best Popular, and they could get Best Overall Film.
Oh, for motion picture or whatever.
Yeah. Achievement in motion picture greatness or whatever the fuck.
Why can't we have a mocap category?
Oh, right. We can't get mocap. We can't get animation well, they do stuntman. They do casting.
Stunt person. Yeah.
They don't do casting. Like like all that stuff is not even recognized. Like mocap is not actually.
I started something.
I would rather see mocap presented than sound editing at the main show. Put sound editing in the technical awards.
Yeah, I'm against that. I wish they didn't split them. I understand why they do.
There's no way. It'd be like a 15-hour show.
I understand why they do, but I really sound editing was something I was interested in this year. Dunkirk,
and then my big thing was achievement in director of photography.
Yeah. Seems like there's a couple too many costuming ones. It was like there was.
I don't care about short film documentary, foreign short film documentary.
Yeah,
I like all that stuff. Like I just don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some great stuff out there. Do documentary, and that's it. Don't do short film. Don't do short animated film. Like all that stuff like that. Put that on the technical award.
Yeah.
There we go. We fixed the Oscars. Send us a check payable to Sean and Janice, PopCultureCult. You're welcome. All right, now we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Idris Elba is trolling all of us. Dun dun dun. Idris Elba posted a tweet at 1:02 a.m. on Sunday morning London time.
Drunk.
He was probably playing something somewhere, whatever. And his quote simply said, with him in it, with him in the photo, and it's like that filtered, whatever. And it says, "My name's Elba, Idris Elba," and the internet exploded. So I will read you the information that we have, and then we will speculate appropriately. Speculate responsibly, appropriately. A story came out from the UK-based tabloid Daily Star. Conversation is over. Daily Star is shit. Essentially, what it came out was and outside of Idris Elba's tweet was this article from the Daily Star saying that Antoine Fuqua has been talk to somebody inside the Barclay camp, saying that it's time to have
Broccoli.
Is it broccoli?
Broccoli.
Or is it broccoli? It's time to have a minority 007, and it's going to happen eventually. And Idris could do it if he just needs to get into shape. And then it kind of came out that conversation never actually really happened, thanks to the Hollywood Reporter, who does really good work. But he's fueling the fire. I know he wants to do it. He's been on the short list for a while, even before Skyfall, when they were talking about maybe having to replace Daniel Craig.
I mean, he's come out and said that he's too old.
What did we say? 40?
He's 45. And the problem, I don't know that he's too old right this minute, but he could only do like one.
He could maybe, well, he could probably go to his mid-50s, so maybe 3 if they didn't dig around and did it.
How old is Daniel Craig?
He's like 45 now, I think.
Yeah, I don't
or
think
something like
could.
that. He got it.
You could do it when Bond of old, when it wasn't all about
all the action stuff.
It was more about, the intrigue and the driving the car,
the player, and hanging out with the girls, and we were talking about this at breakfast on Sunday after everything had come out, and we were at our coffee shop, Peixoto Coffee in Chandler, Arizona. Free plugs. It would be really cool to see Daniel Craig kind of pass the torch to Idris Elba in the movie. We all know, they never really came out and ever said it, but we all know that the 007 title is passed on from a new Bond,
they've
person.
Absolutely said it.
Well, they said it. They kind of talked about it in Casino Royale, in the new Casino Royale, and he said, "I know 007s don't make it very long.
Don't have very long lifespans." Right. Yeah.
But they don't come right out and say they don't. We all know that that's what they're doing, but it would be cool to do it in the movie, not kill off Daniel Craig, but have him like officially retire and in halfway through the movie, or this is my last mission, and he rides off in the sunset and stuff.
It's not that anybody gets any kind of choice. The Barbara Broccoli is very protective over her father's legacy.
Right.
Nothing happens without going through them.
Then how do we get Quantum Solace?
I didn't think it was.
It's the lowest of the new 4.
Okay.
With Daniel Craig.
Go back and watch some of the.
The other stuff is terrible.
There's some Pierce Brosnan ones that are.
There's a pretty
not great.
Yeah.
But nothing's going to happen that they don't.
Right.
Agree to or want to happen.
Right. And there's some younger, British guys who could pull off the 007 thing, but I think it's time to go away from that young white male story arc. I mean, why can't you have a female? Why can't you have a black guy, a Middle Eastern looking guy? London specifically is very diverse.
Yeah.
So why not have that kind of be the basis of it? It's
I don't know that a woman would work, and it's not to be sexist. I just don't know that would work, and I don't know that I would want to see it. But black guy, Middle Eastern guy, Asian guy, I don't care.
It'd be really kind of a funny misdirect to have like Pedro Pascal introduce himself as James Bond 007 at some bar somewhere in Tijuana or whatever, have a Hispanic, but have him be the misdirect and have Bond in his ear the whole time.
Okay.
As kind of you don't understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Kind of a misdirect kind of thing.
I think they only hire English people, but.
Yes. It will be an English, whatever, fill in the blank, but it will be, they will not hire somebody from outside to be the main Bond. Now, there's been American characters around Bond, but there's never been a non-English Bond.
Okay.
Well, Sean Connery was Scottish, but that's a different story.
UK.
UK. All right. So we have 3 more things we're going to talk about, 2 books and a movie. My wife is now going to talk about poo.
All the poo.
Oh, the poo.
So I went and saw it on Saturday.
Saw what?
Christopher Robin.
Okay.
Pooh. Christopher Robin. Ewan McGregor. Haley Atwell. And then, Pooh and Tigger and Eeyore and Piglet and Kanga and Roo and Owl. I went with my daughter and my granddaughter, and it was actually there was a lot of little kids. It was midday on Saturday. A lot of little kids in the theater. Actually, probably a little adult for little kids. I mean, she's almost 6, and she started to kind of squirm around towards the end, and it's really not that long. It's only about an hour and a half. So, it's a lot of the animals are in it, but not always. So I think some of the stories probably a little old for little kids, but I loved it. It had everything that I wanted it to have. It had quotes from the book, and there was there was a couple times there's one quote. So I don't think Pooh ever said bother, which he always says, "Oh, bother." Right. I don't think he ever said that. And then there's one where Christopher Robin says, "I want to live to be 100," and Pooh says, "I only want to live to be 99." And Christopher Robin says, "Why?" And he says, "'Cause I don't want to live a day without you." And they, which is like my daughter's favorite quote, they didn't quite say it that way, but lots of stuff from the books, lots of member berries and stuff. The story was cute. This isn't an Oscar. I don't think that's what they were going for.
We've already had the Oscar talk.
Right. It was a cute story. Dad grew up and forgot all about him, and got brought back around, whatever. I loved the animals. I wasn't sure how that was going to work.
Right.
But they scoop them up more than once and are like running with them, and they're like big, a little more rigid than a stuffed animal.
Right.
But stuffed animals that they weren't like CGI'd on top of them, or they were there. They were running around with these stuffed animals that happen to talk. But Pooh was amazing. He was so cute.
Do you want to give it a score?
I'm going to give it a 3 for nostalgia.
Okay.
I might want to buy it just because.
Right. Well, I mean, it's right in your wheelhouse. So
yes,
it's
I have Pooh on my arm. Yeah. I have Pooh on my arm. You can't see him.
But yeah, she went and did that with the girls and got pedicures, and I worked on the yard for hours. Not that I'm bitter. I did have lunch at the brewery at San
You did.
So I don't
really feel bad for you.
No. And so the other 2 things that we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about really quick, is 2 Star Wars books that I finished in the last couple of weeks. I've been waiting to do them together. The first one was How Star Wars Conquered the Universe. And this came out 2013, I believe, right before Force Awakens. And it's essentially a biography of Star Wars.
Right.
Is essentially what the book is.
Up to that point.
Yep. And it starts with George Lucas as a kid and being into the serials of Buck Rogers and all that stuff, and then him going through his racing years and his big accident, and then his college years, and then the story is interwoven with like the other stuff outside of the movies. So the 501st and the R2D2 Club and like the stories of everybody getting in line and staying in line for 2 months to go see episode 1, Phantom Menace. And like so it's like it's the story of George Lucas doing Star Wars, and then how Star Wars is affected by everything, and it goes back and forth, and it's really kind of a cool story. And the book starts off with the interlude. It's not an interlude. Prefix, whatever the
prefix.
Whatever the pre-story is, and this guy wrote for BuzzFeed, Wired, something like that. And they wanted to do a little experiment and see if there was anybody in the office who had never seen Star Wars, and have them sit down and watch Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And so that was kind of the start of his genesis to maybe put this thing together.
Yeah.
And through that process, to him telling that story, almost everybody who they had found at least knew who Darth Vader was, but knew the lights, even if they'd never seen the movie. So he tells the story of going to the Navajo reservation in northern Arizona, and he sits down with a gentleman who's in his late 80s, early 90s, who was a Navajo code talker. And they dubbed A New Hope for the first time in Navajo and did a screening on the reservation. And this gentleman had never heard of Star Wars, never seen Star Wars. He was born on the reservation, raised on the reservation, taken to war, did the war, came back, and has never left the reservation since.
Right.
So he didn't know anything about Star Wars.
Right.
He watched it for I think they said 15 minutes, and then the things of the memory of war and all that trauma and stuff like that came back, and he's like, "Oh, I'm done," and he left. But that was this kind of the start, the genesis of this project, and then how Star Wars has affected everybody. And he got stories from a bunch of people, and he talks about Dave Filoni, and he talks about the 501st, and it's just a really cool. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a more than casual Star Wars fan, this is a good book to read.
Yeah.
You kind of get the story of how we got from point A to point B, and we got all the way up to the Force Awakens and stuff. If you're an uber Star Wars fan, I don't know why it took me this long to read this book. Like everybody has said, it's amazing. There's so much stuff. You understand why George Lucas made certain decisions, both with A New Hope, then the Empire and Return of the Jedi, and then why he went back and did
Phantom Menace,
the prequels, and decisions he made, and makes more sense. Not saying that they were right, but how he got there makes a lot more sense. And so it was really, really good. So highly recommend it. The audiobook is what I did. The other audiobook I did was Thrawn Alliance. Okay, so I read Thrawn. I had Thrawn read to me last month, and in anticipation for this one to come out, because the cover was Thrawn and Anakin in super sexy "I'm going to kill you" poses, and then it was Thrawn and Vader, and Thrawn with super sexy "I'm going to kill you" eyes. And they glow. This story was awesome because it was a Anakin and Thrawn when they first met, trying to go save Padme. Padme. I'm getting tired, guys. They talk about Bantu, which is going to be the Star Wars land at Disneyland and stuff like that. So it's this port on the Outer Rim. They talk about stuff on the Outer Rim and the Outer Reaches. And then that's one chapter. Then the next chapter is Vader and Thrawn doing stuff for the Emperor to go after this Force anomaly that the Emperor keeps feeling and stuff like that. And so Vader knows Thrawn, but Thrawn doesn't know Vader is Anakin, and so there's all this stuff. And there's, I'll just put it like it's really cool. There's star battles. There's all this other stuff, but there's something very satisfying about Vader and Thrawn and a bar fight. Just saying.
Was it like force choking going on?
Well, there was putty guns.
What?
So I'm not. It's kind of a spoiler.
Tell me later.
No, I'll talk about it. The bad guys at the bar knew that they were outgunned by Thrawn and by Vader, and so they were losing this fight, and 2 of the guys or 3 of the guys kind of fall back in this fight, and they pull these canisters out and they release them, and like these bug-like things start flying out, and they start flying towards Thrawn and Vader, and Vader's like, killing him with the lightsaber and going crazy, and as soon as he would kill him, they would like liquefy and land on his clothes, and as soon as he got on his clothes, they would harden like rock.
Oh, jeez.
And so the more they attacked, the more they became encased in position.
Yeah.
And so eventually they get to a spot where Vader's like got his hand out and he's like with his wrist because he can't move anything else, and everything's like stuck together. And Thrawn's got his hand with his blaster out, but it's like kind of cocked at a different thing. He like has to turn his wrist and like shoots the ceiling, and like it's this great like super satisfying bar fight on the Outer Rim with Thrawn and Vader back to back. It was just awesome. It was just like, but the book itself is really cool. It adds a lot of questions that I have for what the future could be, what Rian Johnson could be going forward with, what could happen after episode 9. I have a bunch of questions. It's Timothy Zahn. Timothy Zahn is like the head kind of. It's Thrawn is his guy.
Yeah.
He created him, so really cool. So definitely worth the read. Read the first one. You will need to know the Chiss ascendancy, all that stuff. And you'll have to understand Thrawn's thought process on how he became an alien to becoming a Grand Admiral. You need to have that to understand this book. But we get a bunch of Padme and stuff like that. And then I have the comics, so I'm just writing to find number 1. So that's this week's show. A lot longer than I thought we were going to go with the stories we had. But the Oscars done messed up. Look at it and curse.
Yay.
What do you guys think this week? What do you think about the Oscars? Have you read Thrawn? Have you seen Christopher Robin? Is Idris Elba going to be... whatever. Let us know. Like I said earlier, please subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and while you're here, you've already watched it this long, hit the like button and leave us a comment and tell us what you thought about this week's episode. Like I said, be nice. We're still learning what we're trying to do here. You can get a hold of us, too, on our social media networks. Pop Culture Cult on Facebook, PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, and at Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. At some point in time, I'm going to do some after video and just have so I don't have to do this every time.
Yeah,
and then we're on Stardust. You get to download it for free. Follow us first. Do little 30-second reviews and all that jazz. Thanks for watching The Big Show, episode 74. Good night now.